This is XFM. Hang on a minute. I'm not Josh Widdicombe. That is correct. I am not. I'm Rick Shaw. What am I doing here at this time on a Sunday morning? This is highly irregular. Josh isn't here, you see. Let me try and explain. What happened was, he wanted an egg muffin for breakfast, but he was only offered a bowl of shreddies. So he punched producer Neil in the face, all right, and he's being suspended. I am, of course, joshing, for want of a better term. That isn't what's happened. It's something far more serious than that. He's overslept.
Josh Widdicombe. Podcast. XFM.
And Howard Rivers in your mouth on XFM. Good morning. This is Josh Widdicombe. I'm not going to lie to you. I'm late. You know, these things happen. 2.5 years in, don't they? We've all been there. No? And Neil, producer Neil's just informed me that you can turn the volume down on your phone alarm without it being on silent. Which, I don't know what the people of Apple, how they can sleep at night. No, well, they can sleep at night very easily because they've turned the volume down on their phone. That's the problem that we're facing in this modern world. I can't believe it. How can they look themselves in the mirror and know the amount of people that have overslept because they've got the volume down but it's not on silent? No?
Yeah.
No?
No.
Not buying it? We've got Ivo Graham coming up. We've got all the usual stuff. I imagine we'll discuss the ting-tings, but I'm getting a slightly kind of itchy feet on that one. But, you know, we'll discuss the 90s, I imagine. And to be honest with you, if Apple are listening, then I think they should turn their radio down and see whether they feel like that constitutes a radio. Because that's how I feel about the whole thing.
Josh Widdicombe. XFM. Podcast.
Now I feel it's long overdue that we do unfinished business. Basically, have you got any issues with last week's show? None of them seem to be related to timekeeping, which is annoying. If they are, right, then, you know, fine. All I'm saying is we've done over 100 shows to the letter, time-wise. Correct?
104.
104. It's an anniversary we should have paid more attention to, isn't it? I feel like we've missed our chance there. It's the kind of thing you're never going to win back. So, to Josh, producer Neil and intern Charles, the Holy Trinity, as I refer to us. Is that how people refer to us now?
Yeah, that's one of many phrases people use.
Much like Jesus, I'm late, although in his way it means dead. I was listening to episode 98 of the podcast, on which you were discussing stories of times you've been stood up on a date. I have a story which happened to someone I knew at school. She was stood up and later found out her boyfriend had died. Forgot the sad music. We don't need it. She was understandably devastated for a while until she saw him on a train a few months later. That's such... Would you be pleased or disappointed?
Confused.
Confused?
Yeah.
Would you go up to him?
I don't know. I don't know if I'd stay away. Maybe suddenly you've...
I mean, I don't know what you're going to achieve by going up to him, because at that point the relationship is irreparable.
Maybe you would go up to them just to confirm you've been blessed with a gift. Because if he has passed on and suddenly you see him on a train...
Oh, I see, yeah.
Just to confirm.
Of all the places, the ghost train. Hello, Josh, producer Neil and intern Charles. This is, of course, on the subject of the ting-tings, I'd hope. Nothing less. I would say, just for future notes, if anyone else emails in with an apostrophe in the word ting-tings, we won't be reading out their email, but Morgan Ann has got, you know, we'll let that off this time. When you mentioned they were on a North American tour, I looked to see if they were coming to Portland, Oregon, so I could report for you. I saw they were scheduled to come on March the 27th. Unfortunately, they had to cancel due to a scheduling conflict. But hope they're back very soon. I will let you know. There's literally no information in that email now. All we've got there is that someone can't go to see the Ting Tings, which is... Well, let's draw a line under this. Let's put our money where our mouth is. Someone needs to go to see the Ting Tings or not. I can't be dealing with this anymore.
Okay.
At 10:49 in the morning, or as it should be at this point, about 10:15. Yeah?
Yep.
Someone just say, I'm going to see the Ting Tings, send me the requisite dollars. Josh@xfm.co.uk. Any other ways to get in touch?
Or via Twitter, which is at
Twitter is
XFM.
classic. @XFM.
Yeah.
Facebook?
Yeah.
No one's ever done that, have they?
Josh Widdicombe. XFM.
Supergrass, all right, on XFM. Neil, normally you have a fact on these kind of things.
Supergrass supported Blur at their first stadium gig.
Not good enough. No, at 10 o'clock that feels good enough, but now we're in the kind of prime time, people are awake. I don't think that's good enough content.
I know that because Dave Rowntree from Blur is on XFM tonight from 10 o'clock.
Is he?
Yeah.
You know, it's still, there's once again ropey content. But you're trying. Do you want today's topic?
Yes.
Things you've overheard people say on the phone in public. Okay, so let's play a song. I know. I don't think this is acceptable. I was when I met you on Friday, Neil. There was a man in a public cafe Skyping loudly. No, not on my watch, mate. Do you think that is acceptable?
Depends what they were talking about.
No, it doesn't. It's whatever. What would be acceptable to talk about? Like something. It's essentially. Would you FaceTime in public?
No, but he might own the cafe, and he was...
He didn't own the cafe.
Right, that's me out then.
No, I just think if you shouldn't be allowed to Skype in public. I think there should be a blanket rule. If you do that, I don't know, like, I'm not going to come out in favour of corporal punishment.
Good.
Good, but if I was going to, this would be the kind of crime that I would apply it to. But I was thinking the kind of things you've ever heard in public. People say on their phones, because my favourite was when I was in the famous bookshop, Waterstones, and I heard a woman refer to it on the phone as water spoons, which really showed her level, I felt. I feel she was in for a 3 for 2 on paperbacks rather than the higher brow end of the book spectrum. So, things you've overheard people say on the phone. Any on your end of the stick now?
Well, I did tweet this morning, actually. It wasn't overheard, but I was on a replacement bus service because my train wasn't running.
No.
And this was...
You still made it in on time?
Yeah, I did. Yep, kudos to me. And a lady decided this was...
People don't get enough kudos these days, do they?
No. But yeah, a lady decided it was the perfect time to decide what she wanted her new ringtone on her phone to be.
No. No, what, she was trying out new ringtones?
Yeah.
You sure she wasn't getting called by various contacts that all had different ringtones?
No, she was definitely...
That's totally unacceptable.
Yeah.
Tom Crane, of this parish, was once on a date and a girl got her phone out to try out new ringtones. That's how bad it was going. Anyway, things you've overheard people say on a mobile phone in public.
Josh Widdicombe.
This is on the subject we're discussing, overheard things people saying to their mobile phones in public. This is from, well, it's very difficult to tell on Twitter these days, isn't it? Is it? I feel like an old person when I see people's Twitter names. I feel like I'm someone watching Top of the Pops going, you can't tell whether they're men or women these days. I do like this, though. I was in Burger King and there was a woman on her phone asking her husband if she wanted a Big Mac and a McFlurry. Globalisation, mate. Yeah?
Yes.
I don't feel that's a tweet or a text. I feel that is a comment on society. Yeah?
Yeah.
Josh Josh Widdicombe. Podcast XFM.
Do you want a couple of texts on overheard things people saying into phones?
Yes, please.
I was working at a jeweller's when I overheard one of the staff at the Birkenhead stall calling a customer on the status of their watch repair and asked for Mrs. Giles pie. There's a slight silence followed by, "Oh yeah, sorry, Mrs. Gillespie." Oh, that's really good. It's a real treat, that one. This is Jodie in Droylsden. I heard a woman walking down Oldham Street, bit of a Manchester atmosphere there,
Yep.
saying loudly on the phone, "We've got booze, crack and Bombay mix, so should be a good night." I wouldn't, can I just say for the listeners, I wouldn't advise dabbling Bombay mix. It can get very strong.
Yes.
And it in many ways, it's a gateway mix.
Josh Widdicombe.
Winter Winds, Mumford and Sons on XFM. It's nice, isn't it, when I do it like that? No? No? One day I'm going to be on BBC Berkshire, and that's going to be my calling card. Probably playing Mumford and Sons. Do you think the Sons in Mumford and Sons find it galling that they're named Mumford and Sons?
No.
No. Okay, well, I was just checking.
What's your name?
What?
What's your name?
Josh Widdicombe.
Good.
Why?
Just get it out there.
Oh, get it out there, yeah. No, we need some much needed publicity. The thing is, he must have started the band, called it that, and then recruited them. Because if the band was already going, he said, "What should we call ourselves?" Anyone got any ideas? And one of them was like, "The Teeth," or whatever. And then he went, "I'm thinking Mumford and Sons." I'd have been absolutely fuming. No?
No, well, we can maybe find out one day.
Okay, shall we have some text or tweets from listeners?
Yes, please.
Okay, this is the first one. I wouldn't have called them Mumford and Sons.
What we got text and tweets on?
Things you've ever heard on the phone in public. I walked past the guy from Mumford and Sons. And he was saying, "No, I'm not having any of it. We're calling the band after me." This is from Astrid, strong name, in Romford. I walked past a woman on the phone and caught the words, "So it turned out he hadn't had a bath in 40 years. I don't think that is a thing.
He might have a phobia. Might be a shower
I
man.
think you'd go ever. Like, he's got to be at least, well, he's got to be at least 40. I suppose when you're a baby you can't resist. But like, he's probably 60. Like, why make a thing? But then, maybe he just showers.
Yeah.
I haven't had a bath in a year.
Really?
But that's because I shower.
Okay.
That's not weird. It's just I'm not the kind of guy that... Do you have a bath? Do you like the candles and...
Occasionally.
Do you?
If it's been a stressful week.
Do you? Bit of Radox.
Bit of Radox.
What do you listen to? Dave Rowntree, 10 p.m. Sunday night.
No, I don't have anything electrical in the bathroom because that's dangerous.
Oh, come on. Grow a pair. You don't listen to anything.
I might have a book.
What? You've got no stimulus. You might as well just kill yourself, mate.
I might have a book. Got my
You have
Kindle.
a book?
Yeah.
No music?
No.
But in your head, are you listening to Enya?
I have a lot going into my head and my ears all week. Sometimes I just want peace and quiet.
It sounds like complaining about your wife there.
I would never complain about anything, especially on Mother's Day.
Josh Widdicombe. Podcast XFM.
Iggy Pop, Lust for Life on XFM. Josh Widdicombe, good morning, good morning. Producer Neil.
Good morning.
But more to the point, Ivo Graham, how are we?
Good afternoon. I'm very well. Thank you very much for having me on XFM.
It's all right. How are you?
I'm chuffed to be here.
Last week, obviously, there was a slight issue. You got a headphone stuck in your ear.
Oh, yeah. I was hospitalised.
You were hospitalised.
For all of 5 minutes.
Have you recovered?
I have, and I've been so careful with... I've got new headphones, and they say never go back, but I've got another pair with the little buds.
No! What?
I just can't... It's such good quality.
Well, I think this is time for Neil to read out the excerpt from Heat this week.
This is Okay.
Have you heard about this?
Nope.
Furious. I don't think this is true.
I'm not in Heat magazine, am I?
No.
No.
Oh.
Maybe if you keep coming on, Ivo, you might be.
Right.
Heat.
This didn't happen, by the way.
So this was tweeted direct to me, not even atting in Josh. It came from Emily, who said, "Look what I spotted in Heat this week." And it's a screen grab of the magazine.
Yeah.
It says, "Spotted the last leg comedian Josh Widdicombe on Carnaby Street with an enormous backpack and even bigger headphones."
Amazing.
That's not a thing.
I love the fact that they've gone behind your back to message Neil about that. I think you should know that Josh is back on Carnaby Street and he's wearing a big headphones.
The swinging 60s.
Were you? Could that have been you? Big Five?
Yeah, I was with Twiggy. No, I don't think I've got a big backpack. I think I've got reasonably large headphones. In that they're not in ear, they're on ear.
Okay.
But that's my thing. I like in ear. I don't like on ear.
Why?
Apart from here in the studio, where it's lovely and comforting. But if I was wearing big ones out on the street, I'd think I was broadcasting. I think that'd be the main thing, and I'd get confused. I think they're very
would you
ostentatious.
start telling quite an interminable anecdote quite loudly?
Yeah, all right, mate. Don't have a go. I think you're shutting yourself off from the world too sort of ostentatiously, and also they get caught around your.
What?
Yeah,
they get caught?
Big headphones are just a nightmare. Have you seen anyone trying to lift a shoulder bag off big headphones and trap themselves?
Yeah, I have done that. That's a good point. Particularly with my massive rucksack. I don't know.
It's a miracle.
I mean, what do they even mean, a massive rucksack? I wasn't hiking. Have you got a massive... I mean, what?
No, I've got a briefcase which gets me a fair amount of abuse. Got a little sort of
Understandably so.
Yeah, but it's you know,
It looks like a gift from Paddington Bear.
it's not a gift from Paddington Bear. It's a throwback to another time.
Do you know what I think it is? I think it's an affectation.
No, it's not an affectation. This
I've
guy
said
does
it.
not do affectation.
I think you're trying to make a point that you're
I'm
failing
not trying to make a point at all. It's an old family briefcase. It's been passed down from generation to generation of affected Graham men.
In the Victorian age, I think your grandfather was affected. That's all I'm saying.
No, in the Victorian age, he was a cliche. If anything, everyone had those briefcases. Like, get some unique style, and now I've got too much unique style.
Josh Widdicombe. Podcast. XFM.
Josh Widdicombe on XFM. Ivo Graham.
Yes.
What have we got coming up?
I'm going to be taking us on a little trip to Planet Hollywood.
What, the Bruce Willis restaurant?
Yeah, I thought we could go there for lunch after the show. I'm joking, we're going to the real Hollywood in anecdotal form.
Josh Widdicombe. XFM.
Ivo Graham, good morning.
Good afternoon.
good
You keep
afternoon,
pushing
sorry.
morning, but it's
I'm trying.
12:27 and you're making a fool of yourself.
What do you bring us? What do you bring to this parish?
I'm going to this parish and a decidedly ungodly story, dealing as it does with greed, treachery, and many of the other 7 deadly sins. I don't even think treachery is one of them.
No, I don't think treachery is. Envy.
Sorry?
Something to do with an ox.
Yes, coveting. This is a story about how I coveted my neighbour's ox in Hollywood in 2010.
So it's 2010.
It's
Hollywood.
2010, and I'm a year into my comedy career. Although I didn't know it was going to be a career then, and I'm still not sure now. But
more sure than your parents.
oh yeah, no, their doubt is almost stronger than it's ever been. Because soon I'm going to be a proper adult and I'm not going to be able to retrain. In 2010, there was a simpler time, and I was invited with a bunch of other comics to go to perform at the Hollywood Fringe in Los Angeles, California.
California.
California, here we come. To quote the theme tune of the OC, which I was very into at the time. One of the main reasons I accepted the invitation, basically, a couple of zany American sort of theatre types had come to the Edinburgh Fringe the previous year and watched a load of sort of anarchic comedy shows being performed in basements and rooms above pubs, and thought, this is crazy and alternative. Let's have a Hollywood Fringe, which I think slightly sees the fact that Hollywood's is a fringe. It's a city already full of sort of deluded artists and dreamers. So imposing a sort of eccentric extra layer of deluded artists and dreamers is completely unnecessary. But they talked to a comedy promoter I was doing some gigs for about coming over and bringing some comics over to do shows in Hollywood, and we were all very excited because I think we thought it was very much immediate. I think we all thought we'd be in Judd Apatow movies by 2011.
Hasn't worked out.
The promise is no. I've not even no.
So you were you were doing the gigs in Hollywood.
So we went out to Hollywood, fueled by sort of all these promises, and we were putting on shows. The first problem was that they're in dance studios in Hollywood. I think we'd really got the sort of the rough end of the venue offer, and it was these tiny rooms, but with mirrors on all sides, which made it look like there were about 8 times as many people in the room as there actually were, which was quite sad in a way. You see
8 times 8.
Often 8 times 1. That was the main problem, was that because there's no need for Hollywood Fringe, and it was the first year of the Hollywood Fringe, they hadn't really sorted out the promotion of any of the events. No events were selling. We had to slash our prices from $15 to $0 very quickly. So basically flying people in off the street. But things picked up.
Surely in Los Angeles, no one walks anywhere.
No, that's exactly it.
So it's a very difficult flyering job.
No, it was a very difficult flyering job indeed, handing out little flyers saying the British invasion on to people who really didn't look like they cared at all, or had homes in some cases. A story of a homeless man who came to all of our shows and then refused to leave. That's for another week. But one man who came to our shows was not a homeless man, I don't believe. He sat in the front row with his... with a young girl who seemed was his daughter or granddaughter or something, and basically what happened was there were 8 of us doing shows in the same dance studios at different times during the day. So usually we'd all be milling around, even if it wasn't our show, because we were just before or just after. It was base camp, and I was doing a show split with my friend Naz Osmanlo, and I was on the first half hour, he was on the second half hour, and I was chatting to the audience what there was of them, trying to work out who the real people were and who the reflections were. And I was talking to this man who, and I said, "What's your name?" And he said, like, Dave or something. And the little girl next to him started laughing, and then other people in the room started laughing as well. And I said, "Why is that so funny?" And she refused to tell me. And then I said to one of the other people in there, I said, "Why is everyone laughing? Like, why am I not in on this joke?" And he looked rather awkward and said, "I think it's Steven Spielberg." Now, I had a rough idea of what Steven Spielberg looked like. An angular face and a goatee. I was sure I'd seen pictures of him before, but I didn't have an exact picture, and it was definitely plausible for someone who had a sort of 70 to 80% of idea of the sort of man he might be. It could be him, and the last thing I wanted to do was deny that it was Spielberg, if it really was him, because it really was the boon that the trip needed by this point. And if we'd had to go out there and slash our prices to perform to homeless people in a dance studio for free for a fortnight, and then on the penultimate day of the trip, I'd turned away one of the greatest directors of his or any generation, I think I would have been persona non grata.
So what did you do?
So I went all out sycophancy, which is my default position in most situations.
No,
I'm terribly sorry, Mr. Spielberg, because everyone else seemed very... Like, the whole room, and they couldn't have prepped it in advance, the whole room was on board with this. No one else went, "It's not Spielberg." So I thought it must be, and I started chatting to him about Jurassic Park, about Back to the Future, and he sort of knew a lot about these things, so it was still plausible. I threw my entire set out the window, spent my half hour chatting to Spielberg. Then I brought on Naz for his half hour, immediately left the room into the sort of main lobby and went, "Guys, listen, I know it's been a very difficult trip thus far, but I think things may be turning around. You're not going to believe who we've got in the front row. Spielberg." And obviously no one believed me, but people were intrigued. And some of the other UK comics, some of the other British invaders weren't at the dance studio. They were summoned from across town. Like, one guy got a taxi. He was like, "I can't miss Spielberg." So when Naz, and I believe Naz's entire set was also spent just talking to Steven Spielberg about what it was like being Steven Spielberg. So They then come out at the end to see like the entirety of our troop just waiting with bated breath / autograph books. And we come out and the John, who'd organised the trip, said, "Stephen, it's very exciting to have you and you here with Ivo and Naz. Could we have a photo of the three of you?" And so we've got this photo of me and Naz either looking pleased as punch to have met Steven Spielberg. We'd had a final handshake, congratulated him again on Back to the Future. Then he left, at which point the rest of the British troop. I've never seen a group of men laugh so much and so vindictively at two innocent young comics. They said, "That is not Steven Spielberg." And I've since looked, and I look most days, I think, at pictures of Steven Spielberg next to the picture of the man that me and Naz had our photo taken with, and there is not a lot of physical resemblance whatsoever.
Will we be able to tweet the picture of you with Steven Spielberg?
I think so. I texted it to you not long ago, but I'll have to find it again so we can tweet it.
Okay, we'll tweet
it is
that
a
picture.
story of delusion and failure like none other, I think.
Josh Widdicombe. XFM.
Just to follow up Ivo Graham,
Yes.
you've just done a story about when you met a fake Steven Spielberg.
I didn't know at the time it was a fake Steven
And
Spielberg.
you talked to him about Back to the Future.
Yes.
Someone has tweeted in, Flash Rocks has tweeted in, Steven Spielberg had nothing to do with Back to the Future.
That's not true. Robert Zemeckis, I think, produced it, but Spielberg was...
They followed up. Okay, he was exec producer.
Yes! Oh, it's a delight to see someone correct themselves without even having to get involved. Think carefully before you tweet XFM, because you'll find yourself soon having to tweet them again immediately afterwards out of guilt.
Josh Widdicombe. XFM. Podcast.
Let's wrap up the text topic. Things you've ever heard people saying into their mobile phones in public. Have you got anything on it, Ivo?
Oh, mobile phones, no. I didn't realise it was that,
no, that's fine,
that
carry on.
tighter remit. Just a conversation I overheard on the tube a few nights ago, which was amazing because it was between a punk and a middle-aged woman. And I was travelling
Sorry,
home from a gig
were you on the tube in 1977?
with my briefcase. No, but that's exactly it, and that's why the middle-aged woman was taking. Cause it was a young punk, and the most enormously. It was a woman, I'd say, probably sort of early mid-20s, huge spiky green hair, those earrings where it makes a hole in your ear. I don't want to offend any listeners, but if you've got those, come on, it's horrible. And reading a J.G. Ballard novel, like if you had someone in a play like being a punk, you'd be like, you've overdone that a bit. You've made your point. And this middle-aged woman across.
That was the punk.
That was the punk. That was no. Yes, that was the middle-aged woman, and then this punk, by comparison, really hadn't put the effort in at all. Just holding a Clash album. No, the punk, the middle-aged woman started saying, "How can you want to dress like that when you didn't even live through punk?" And it was a Friday night, and she was a bit drunk, and I missed my stop to see where it would go.
Oh, wow!
It's so nosy. And the punk sort of said, "Oh, it's not really. It's just about the music you like more than anything." And the woman said, I don't think that makes any sense. And the punk said, "I don't want to talk about it to you." And that was it. Like, about 5 seconds after the doors had closed. And I was like, come on, guys. I'm invested in you having a proper ideological war now. And it didn't happen.
Sadly ended up in Stockwell for this. We've just got time that's tied it all up, hasn't it?
Yeah, plugs.
Plug.
Still Reading and Edinburgh show, March the 30th in Islington, please. Or Bristol on Monday night. XFM doesn't happen in Bristol, does it?
Yep.
Yes.
You can listen via the app.
Yeah, oh yes, of course.
Online
You've got the podcast by
XFM.
Monday, as if that's going to happen. I've said
How do you
Bristol
feel about
Smoke and
that,
Mirrors on Monday night.
I'm not bothered.
Sorry, Neil.
It's fine.
I only say it as a fan.
Water off a duck's back, really, isn't it? Thank you for listening.
Anything to plug, Josh?
No.
All right, I'll plug Sunday nights then.
No, I didn't ask you whether you had anything to plug.
Yeah.
Do you want to plug the new Sunday night lineup?
Yes, please.
7 o'clock.
Communion Presents with Maz.
9 o'clock.
Brand new to XFM, Russell Brand returns, powered by Audio Boom.
Brand new, very good.
Yep.
10 o'clock.
Dave Roundtree of the massively brilliant Blur.
Yes. Is he powered by Audio Boom as well, or is that just Brand?
That's just Russell Brand at the moment,
Okay,
Ivo.
fair enough.
And do you want unfinished business?
Yeah.
So
These are the things we want emails on, josh@xfm.co.uk, on the following topics.
being late, because what time did you start the show today, Josh?
10... yeah, it's a good point.
How did Mumford & Sons get their name? Overheard Conversations, Bombay Mix, The Hollywood Fringe, Steven Spielberg and Punks.
Yes, brilliant. Lovely topic selection.
What a day it's been. Sunter up next.
She is indeed.